My screen is visible to you all. So today is the Python class day one. Outline for the day. These are the things we'll be discussing today. The very first point is briefing on Python. That is what Python is all about. Secondly is briefing on machine learning, which is the aspect of Python that we'll be focusing on this course. And then the third thing we'll be looking at is Python installation on system. And then for those that will be using mobile device, how can you go about it on mobile device? And then finally, we'll look at the basics of Python. I want to introduce some simple concepts in Python before we deviate into machine learning, because we need to understand these basics first before we proceed in machine learning. So that's why I want to introduce those basics to us first before any other thing. All right. So the first thing is briefing on Python. Now, what is Python? Python is a simple, powerful programming language. It was created in the year 1991. For you to program with a programming language, it is good you know when it was created, who created it, and what brought about its creation. Now, prior to Python, there were other programming languages like Java, C Sharp, C, and the rest, Fortran, and the rest of them. But one problem that those programming languages were facing was their structure. Every programming language has what we call structure. When we start writing the code, you understand better. But every programming language has what we call structure. Structure has to do with its appearance, how it looks like. Every programming language has a unique appearance that it has. So those former programming languages like C Sharp, C, Java, they have a very complex structure, and you have to obey some certain rules in order for them to work. But Python, the introduction of Python brought about the minimization of those rules, in the sense that you mustn't follow some of those rules before it can be able to work. For instance, in Java, if you are working with Java, at the end of every line, if you write a code, at the end of every line, you must write semicolon. If you didn't put semicolon, the code will not work. But Python, the coming of Python eliminated things like that. Whether you put semicolon at the end or you didn't put, Python will work. So that's one of the things that Python has helped stopped in programming. Another thing that Python has brought again that makes it unique from other programming language is it is easy. Python has a more or less like English-like structure. Even if you don't have any knowledge about programming, if I write a Python code for you, you can be able to read that line of code and then maybe deduce. You can be able to have an understanding of, okay, this line of code is trying to do something like this. That's one feature that makes Python different from other programming language. For instance, if you want to output something, I want to show users something. One practical way Python does that is it will tell you print a particular thing. Other programming language don't use print. For instance, C++ will tell you see out. See out doesn't sound easy to the ear, but if I should tell you print hello world, it makes more sense, because I'm trying to tell you I want to output something, I want to print something. Anything you are printing, you are outputting. So that is one thing that makes Python different from other programming languages. It brings more flexibility and easy understanding to users than other programming language. So Python was created by von Rossum in 1991. So that was when Python came into existence. So Python has not been up to 50 years of existence. It's one of the newest programming languages developed. So what are the things that Python can do? Now, Python as a programming language is very vast. It's very vast in the sense that you can use it in almost every area. One of the areas you can use Python, the basics of Python or the knowledge of Python, is in the area of web development. The same way they are using HTML, CSS, JavaScript for building web applications and websites. That is anything that you can run on the web. That is like your Chrome browser, your Kiwi browser, and the rest. Anything that you can run on them, those are what we call websites or web applications. You can use Python to do that. Another thing you can use Python to do is automate repetitive tasks. For instance, A practical example of repetitive tasks is, let me assume your alarm on your clock is a repeated task. At times you can go to your clock, you set alarm. It will work today, it will work tomorrow, it will work next tomorrow. You can use Python to set things like that. You can set it that once it's so time, wake me up. Python can be used to do things like that. Another thing we can use Python to do is you can use Python for data analysis. Data analysis is what entails analyzing and visualizing data, in the sense that they can give you data, you will interpret the data, what the data entails, what it's all about, and then bring out visual, that's pictorial representation of information that are inside that data. Luckily, that's one of the things we'll do in the entirety of this course. We'll learn how to visualize data, how to analyze data as we progress. And then another application of Python is Power AI application and machine learning system, which is our focus. So analyzing and visualizing data, powering AI or machine learning system, things these 2 points here, these 2 points highlighted will be the focus of this course entirely, and then a little of web application development, because at the tail end of the course I need to teach you how to develop web applications and how you can embed or deploy your machine learning algorithms that you've developed into those systems. Because whenever you develop a machine learning model and you didn't use it, you didn't show the real world application of for it, is useless. But the moment you can incorporate it into a system, a workable system, and then use it to perform a specific task, it shows that that machine learning model you develop is useful. So these are the things that we'll cover in this course. And then lastly, it can use to control robots, devices, and other Internet of Things or sensors. That's IoT. All these are applications of Python. So that's the first thing we will be looking at. All right. So the next is the briefing on machine learning, which is our focus. So it's just a brief I'll give. I won't give much detail on machine learning because along the way we'll still dwell on that. So now what is machine learning? Now machine learning is a niche. Now, just like I said earlier, I said Python is a programming language that you can use to perform a lot of tasks, and then we identify the aspect of machine learning and AI as one area that Python is used, and we said that is the aspect we'll be focusing our attention on. So machine learning, what is machine learning? Machine learning is a branch of AI. AI is the entire house. Then machine learning is like parts inside of AI. So what is machine learning? Machine learning is a part or type of AI that helps a computer to reason like a human. A computer will reason like a human and then make decision like a human. That is what machine learning focus on. However, in order for that machine to be able to work like a human, he needs something. And what is that? That particular thing the machine need is data. Data, not the data we subscribe to our mobile device. Data in the sense that the one that contains information about something. For instance, if I'm in a school, I can collect data like names of students, what is their CGPA, which department they belong, all those kind of things are what we call data. So in order for you to make a machine learning model that can be able to work, or build a machine learning system that can make decision or take decision on its own like humans, it needs data. So one limitation of machine learning system is without data they can't work. Unlike you human being. You human being, even without data, you can take a decision. Something can just happen to you once and then you make a decision. But this machine learning system, they need data. So without data, they can't work. That is why if you're a fan of American movies, you see that a lot of things that they do nowadays, they always involve data. Because data is the one ruling the world now. And AI is one of the aspects of technology that is ruling the whole world now. And they need a lot of data. So data is one important thing that machine learning algorithms need in order for them to work. Now, the next thing says why Python for machine learning. Now, why do we use Python for machine learning? If you remember, although Python is not the only programming language used for machine learning, even JavaScript is used for machine learning. But the commonly used programming language for machine learning is Python. And why is it used? One, user friendly. Python is user friendly in the sense that if you remember earlier, I said it has an easy to read structure. That is, the entire structure of Python is very easy. It looks more or less like English in nature, unlike other programming languages that have complex structure. So it is easy to use, it is user friendly, and it can help you to write clean code without much complexity. And then you can use it to build smart systems for your own use or for a company. So that's the little briefing on machine learning. So the next thing we'll be looking at is installation of Python on our system. So let me go back to my browser. Now, if you could recall, yesterday I dropped some link. Was it yesterday or some days back? I dropped some links in the group, and then I asked us to download Python, but we shouldn't install. Now, for those of us that are downloaded, I'm talking about those who will be using system. So I'm going to guide those of us who will be using system on how to do it. And then when we are done, those that will be using phone, I will also tell you what you need to do on your phone. Now, already I have Python installed on my system, so the process cannot start from beginning. But if you follow the Python link I gave you and you've downloaded the Python app, all you need to do now is to double click the app as if you want to install it. That's, you see the file should be python 3.10.4.exe. Once you download, that will be the file you see. So how will you install? The moment you double click on it, you will see a page like this. Sorry, I'm using this one for illustration purpose. Python 3.7.2, but yours is not Python 3.7.2. Yours is Python 3.10.4, 64 bits, I think. So you see an interface like this. Now, this is what you have to do. You can see this place that are highlighted. This install launcher for all user, make sure it is checked if it appear there. But the most important thing is this add Python. For this my illustration, it says Python 3.7 to part, but yours will show add Python 3.10 to part. Make sure you check it the same way this one is being ticked. So you make sure it is ticked first before you click this install now. Because if you click on install now without checking this place, there will be an issue once we want to start the real application of machine learning. Because in order for us to use machine learning, we will need to install some libraries. There's what we call libraries. All I will guide us on how to install them. So in order for you to do that, if you didn't check this place, once we want to start installing those libraries, it will not work. So you have to check this place first. Ensure this add Python 3.10, that's in your own, you see Python 3.10. Ensure add Python 3.10 to part is checked. So once you have checked it and you've checked the install launcher for all users, once both places are checked, you click on install now. If your own doesn't have the first one, no worries. Ensure that this add Python 3.10 to part is checked. That's the most important thing. Once you've checked it, you can click on install now and then allow it to do all its installation. So if you want to try it, you can start trying it now, or you can leave it as after the class, because I'll still provide this video on YouTube. You can go and check. So after the class, you can try that. So once you click this install now, allow it to finish installing. So the moment it finished installing, it will show you setup completed. So the moment it's done, the next thing you have to do is this page you are seeing. I'll show you how to do that. All you need to do is you come to your search button and then you search for command. Search for command prompt. This first one, or you say CMD. You can type CMD or you type command prompt. You see something like this will pop up. So you click on this command prompt. The moment it's up, if you want to be sure that your Python is installed, just type Python and then hit enter key. If it is installed, you see something like this. You can see the version I'm using, the same version with the one I sent to you. You can see Python 3.10.4. So once you see something like this, it means your Python has been successfully installed. Another way you can check, now if you didn't check that add to path, your Python will still be installed, but there will be a problem with your pip. There's what we call pip. Pip is what we use to install other libraries. Remember I told you once we want to start our machine learning properly, there are some libraries that we will install. So the same way you do go to your browser, you write download and then you write the name of what you want to download. In Python, in programming, if we want to, in Python programming, if we want to install something, we don't say download. No, we use a statement called pip. Pip, I'll say pip install, then the name of what I want to download. So if you didn't add that, Python 3.10 to path, if you put pip and then you hit enter, it will raise an error for you. It will show you error. But you can see my own, it didn't show error. It brought out some things. It means I added my Python to path. So ensure you check that add Python 3.10 to path first before you install your Python. So that is that with installing Python on system. So this, what I just showed you, is the same thing I did here in this slide. So the next slide now goes for the second application. The second, remember I gave you two links. One is for Python. The second one is for VS Code. Now for the VS Code, that one is straightforward. You download, you double click it, and then you install. That one is straightforward. I also have it. So even if I download, I can't install because it's already installed. So you on your own part, you just download, double click, and install. That's all. Now, after you install, the very first page, you see something like this. This will be like your welcome page. This is what you see. This is what you see on your welcome page. But in order for you to work with Python in your VS Code, there's something you need to do. Now, on this sidebar, as I'm hovering, you will see that each of these tabs here have a name. You can see that they have a name. The moment you install on your own, you see all these things too. So your first place of operation within this VS Code is to go to this place. Hover it, you see they wrote extensions. The place where they wrote extensions, click on it. The moment you click on it, you see a search bar here. On the search bar, search Python and then allow it to search. Ensure your system is connected to the internet first. So you search Python and then you can see it brought up plenty things related to Python. Now what you are to look for is just look for pure Python. Forget about this Python environment, Python, whatever. Just scroll down until you've seen Python. This is Python. Me, I have it installed already. That is why you are seeing this logo. But if it is not installed, you see something like install. Then you click on it. But if you have it installed already, it will show you this settings logo. But if you don't have it installed, it will show you installed by the side. Same way this one is showing. So the moment it shows, you just click on it. Let me just show you illustration with this one. This is Python extension. For instance, I want to install it. I'll just click on install. You can see it's showing installing, Trust Publisher and install. Just select it. It will show you installing. The moment it finished installing, you can see it has finished installing. You see that place that was showing install now has changed. So that is how you install. So it's not Python extended you have to install. You have to install this Python. So you check here, you see install. You click on it first. After you've clicked on it, it will install. It will bring out a pop-up. So you agree to the installation. You select the trust, the publisher, and then you click on it. The moment you click on it, allow it to install. The moment it installs, you see here we change from install. It will show you this manage or settings logo. So you finished installing your VS Code. That's the only thing you need to do there. So that's the same thing I showed you here in this slide. It's the same thing. So I showed you the one you have to install. So that is that for the applications you will need if you are to work with system. Although installing these applications are important, but me more of my time, if I'm working with Python, I hardly use this VS Code self. I mostly use Google Colab. So I will also show you how to work with your Google Colab. So once we start the lesson properly, I'll show you how to work with Google Colab on system. So, but for now, these are the two things you need to install if you are working with system. Now, for those that will be working with a mobile device, we have two ways. I know we have different versions of mobile device. Some are using Android, while some are using iOS. For those that are using iPhone or iOS, the thing is there is no Python application that you can use on your mobile device. So that is why I will show you how to use Google Colab so that you can be running all your codes on Google Colab instead of you to download an application. While for those that are using Android, there is an application that you can use to run your Python codes. You can use it to run your machine learning code. However, I will advise also use Google Colab because Google Colab is more flexible and this one at times might stress you, but it will work. So the name of the application is PyDroid 3. So you can go to your Play Store, you search for PyDroid 3 and install. After, there are two things you need to install. The PyDroid 3 has a plugin. So the first thing is you need to download the PyDroid 3 install. Once you are done with that, the second thing, you come back to your Play Store again and then search for PyDroid repository plugin. So you have to install two things. PyDroid 3, which is the previous one. That's the first thing you have to download and install. The moment you are done with that, you go to PyDroid repository plugin and then you also install. So these are the two things you will need to install on your phone if you want to use Python on your mobile device. Sorry, a minute. I want to check something. Oops. The recording stopped. Okay, so that's how you install the Python IDE for running Python code on your mobile device. Now, the next thing I'll be showing you is how to use Google Colab on your mobile device. The same way we use it on the mobile device is the same way you use it on the system also. There is no difference, it's the same. However, for you to use it in your mobile device, there are some settings that you need to do first before it can work. So I believe I dropped a link the other day and then I asked each and every one of us to create an account. So if you use your mobile device, you see something like this. This first image I'm hovering on, it will be the first thing you have to see. You see something like this first. So the moment you've seen something like this, what you have to do is you have to click on your your three dots buttons here. That's your menu bar here. These are three dots. You click on it and then you change it to your desktop site. Ensure you change, don't use this normal mobile view to run it. It will give you issues. It will give you issues. So you need to change it to desktop site and then you do some settings also. So after you've logged in, you've created an account on Google Colab, you need to change the view to desktop site, which is on this second image. The moment you've changed it to desktop site, you see something like this. This view that is on the third image is what you see. However, you are not done because even this view will still give you issues. After doing that, the next slide will show you what you do. Now, after changing it to desktop site, still click on the three dots by your top left, by your top right, sorry. Once you've clicked on it, go to settings. This settings here, you go there. Once you clicked on these settings, this is the menu you see. You see something like this second image, you see this. So click on accessibility. Once you click on accessibility, this is the page you see. Default, this place that is 50% is set to 100. That's the default. is set to 100. So you have to drag it down to 50. Change it from 100 to 50. Change it from 100 to 50. If you didn't do that, you'll be having issues when you are using your Google Colab. So you have to change it from 100. So you go to your settings, change your accessibility, ensure it's on desktop mode and desktop site mode. So you go to settings, you click on accessibility, change it from 100 to 50. Once you've changed it from 100 to 50, you click on back. So the moment you've gone back, you see something like this second image. Now, the first desktop site, this is what you see. That's before you change your accessibility. This is how it will look like. Then after changing your accessibility, this is how it will look like. You see that this one is more smaller. You can zoom it actually. You can zoom it. But this one will give you flexibility. This second one will give you flexibility to write your code. Unlike this first one. This one will allow you to write the code, but at times it will be as if it's hanging and it will be giving you some issues. Whereas this one will not give you those issues. It will give you more flexibility and liberty to be able to write your code. So these are the basic steps on how to use Google Colab on your phone. So although I showed you how to use how to install your PyDroid app, but if you want to enjoy your coding on your mobile device, always use Google Colab. The PyDroid app should be for practice. Maybe you want to just learn and explore it, then you can use that. But to enjoy flexibility and easy usage of Python environment and writing of code, always use the Google Colab. And one sweet thing about Google Colab is that Google Colab was specifically developed for machine learning work. So there are some things that you don't need to install. Remember, I told you you need to add Python to parts because we'll be installing some things on your machine from the command prompt. Google Colab, you can install everything direct within it. In fact, some you don't need to install them, it has them already. It has them. So you don't need to suffer yourself installing them. So Google Colab gives you more flexibility. So we'll be using more of Google Colab in our classes than the VS Code and the PyDroid application. So that is how to install Python on your mobile device and also on your Android device also. Now this for this Google Colab illustration, it works for both Android and iOS. So as long as you are using Chrome, you can do all these settings there. So if you're an iOS user or an Android user, it's the same procedure and step. So before we go to the basics of Python, which is the next on our agenda, I want to give the floor for asking of questions. If you have any question, maybe you can unmute your mic and ask. If you have any question on what I've explained so far, if there's anyone with any question, you can ask. Yeah, evening. Yeah. Okay. Are you using a system? Can you share your screen? Okay, you can share your screen. I believe from his question, maybe other fellows can also. Did it allow you to share? Is it sharing? Or you can't locate the button? Let me see. I'm coming. Let me see whether I granted you permission to that. Sorry, let me stop sharing and then allow you to share. Okay, try yours now. Let's see if it's allowed to show. After the smile emoji, the next button before that hand for raising up. That's where to share. Is it there on your screen? Okay. Okay. Aha. So now you've checked the tuber. So click on that install now. That first one, yes. So you allow it to complete this whole process. The moment it's done, that's all. Hmm? Yeah, it's installing. So every other person that wants to install too is this same process you have to follow. So you allow this installing to complete. The moment it complete, it will show you setup successful. So the moment it shows that, it's complete. So you get go. So that's just how to. The installation is not that difficult. All right. So since it's installing, you can stop sharing now. Let's proceed with the class while it's installing. All right. So is there any other one with any? Okay, I can see three people raising their hands. So I don't know. Mr. Eli, Mr. John, and okay, four people. So maybe if you have a question, you can just unmute your mic and then ask. Because I saw four people raising their hands. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Hydroid is only for Android users. Yeah. So that's why I said if you're using iOS, preferably you use your Chrome browser and then do those settings that I highlighted. So you use just Google Colab for running your codes. Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe we'll check that particular one after the class. To see, or maybe you try. But is the Chrome up to date? Okay. Maybe after the class we can check that one. Is there any other person? Okay, maybe after we find the solution for that iOS, we'll also drop it in the group for the benefit of those that are using iOS. Should be in case they are finding it difficult to locate accessibility. All right. We have two people raising their hands up, so you can. Okay, Mr. Darwin, I think you are talking. Hello. Okay, sorry, I wasn't hearing you before. I think my network was. Okay, he said tell you to modify setup. It means you already have Python in your system. Yeah. So if Python is already installed, it will tell you modify or repair. I think those are the things. That's what it's telling you, huh? So it means already. So if it's showing you that there's no need to install, you already have it. Yeah. All right. So who else? All right, sir. Yeah. Once it's installed, there's no need to do anything. It's just for you. When we use it, I'll show you how to use it. That's all. All right, sir. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Eli. I can't. Okay, your voice is not too audible. It's inside. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Um. Now the thing is, if we're having different version, it will still work. But if you have a version lower than, if your version is lower than 3.10.4, is okay. There's no need to modify. Leave it. But if your version is maybe 3.11, 3.12, because I know some people, there are some systems that auto comes with Python nowadays. New systems, that's how they come with. They auto come with Python. If your version is 3.11 upward, modify it to this Python 3.10.4. Now, why am I being specific on Python 3.10.4? I've been using Python 3.10.4 for the past 3 or 4 years now. And each Python version has an update in it. And there's what we call bugs. All these versions, they have bugs. And there are some that they are bugs. They have a lot of bugs that are yet to be fixed. So if you are using, for instance, there was a time I was using Python 3.11.6, I think. I was experiencing an error. I tried installing a library. I want to work with it. It didn't allow me to use. It was because that library has not been modified to correspond with Python 3.11.6 that I'm talking about. Sorry, a minute. All right. So those newer versions, there are some bugs that are still in them that when you use them, there are some libraries that when you want to use, they will not match. So you'll be having issues. But lower versions, like especially this 3.10.4, this one I'm being specific on it, or maybe 3.9 point something. These ones are versions that are old, and all these older versions, any library can correspond in them. So if you have 3.10.4, fine, leave it. If you have maybe 3.9 point something, it's also fine, leave it. But if you have a higher version than 3.10.4, modify it. So if you have a higher version, modify and ensure it is between 3.10.4 to maybe 3.9.5. If your Python version is within this range, it's fine. You can work with it. So I believe I've answered the question, right? Yeah, that one is 3.7. Yeah, if you have a much lower version, that is why I say use from 3.9 to 3.10.4. If you have a more lower version, modify it. If you have a higher version, modify. Yes. So ensure your Python version is between 3.9 point something. In fact, 3.9.5 to 3.10.4. If your Python version is within those range, it's okay. you can allow it. But if it is not within those range, try as much as you can to modify it. So that is that with that. So the next thing we'll be looking at our slide is the basics of Python. So I will be sharing a file after the class where we'll be which I'll be talking about. So let me show you how to use the Google Colab. So for those of you that will be using system, the steps I'll be taking now, that's how you work with your Google Colab and system. So the first thing is I search for my Google Colab. The moment I search for it, this will be the first interface. This will be the interface that will come up. This is the interface that will come up. So the moment this interface is up, next thing you have to do is the file I'm going to send to the group. If you are using your phone or you are using system, it's the same procedure. Remember, I told you if you change your accessibility, you put it on desktop mode, it's as if you are operating system on your mobile device. So it's the same procedure. So how will you upload the file? There are many ways, but the easiest way is to just ensure the file is saved in your local device. In your device is it will be on your file, it will be saved in your file manager. So ensure you can easily track it or find it on your file within your file manager. Then if you are using system, ensure you know the place that you save the file. Most of you at times files do save in downloads folder, so you are going to navigate to that folder where the file will be saved. So me, I saved it in a particular folder which I'm going to navigate to now. So how do you upload? You click on this upload, so it will give you a menu like this. Click on browse, then it will bring out a pop-up like this. So I saved it in this on my desktop in this folder, Python session 1 2025. Within this project. Now this is the file. I'll click on it and then click on open and then allow it to load. The procedures are the same, whether phone or system. So the moment you upload it, it will load by itself, and then this is the file. You can see this is the file we'll be talking about. The file has been uploaded. It has been uploaded within my Google Colab environment. Now, the first thing after uploading, you can see here, this place is showing connect. Click on this connect and ensure it shows connected first before you proceed with anything. Ensure it shows connected first before you proceed with any other thing. Now you can see now it's showing connected. So now I can proceed with what I'm doing. Now, what is the advantage of using Google Colab? The difference between using Google Colab and VS Code, because VS Code will still do the same thing that Google Colab will do, but the difference is that VS Code will use the resources on your system. That is, it will use your system RAM and it will use your system hard disks. If you are using VS Code and machine learning, in order for you to build machine learning models and system, you need heavy processor. So there are some of us that maybe our CPU is maybe 2.1 gigahertz and maybe our system is 4 gig RAM, it will be very slow. So that's one disadvantage of using VS Code to build machine learning models. Though we've not gotten to that place, we've not started building machine learning models. If you run this file on your VS Code, it will still run perfectly well. No issue, because you are not building a machine learning model. But I'm trying to explain the advantage of why I'm emphasizing on using Google Colab. Google Colab will not use your system properties. It will not use your RAM. It will not use your hard disk. So no matter how you are working with it, it will not be slow. The only thing that can make it slow is if your internet connectivity is not strong. Because for you to use Google Colab, you must be connected to the internet. So that's the only thing that Google Colabs require. It requires connection to internet, that's all. Once you are connected to the internet, you can make use of it. So the moment you've connected your Google Colab to the internet, you can make use of it and then use online resources. Now, if you check here, you can see it's showing RAM and hard disks. It's showing RAM and hard disks. You can see, as I click on it, you can see I have 12 gig RAM. There are some of us that our system are not up to 12 gig RAM. but they gave me access to 12 gig RAM of online system to use. And my hard disk, they gave me 107 gigabytes. Though the hard disk is limited, in order for you to use a higher gigabyte, you have to pay. But the free version is sufficient for us to do everything we need to do. So there's no need to pay for anything. And you can even change, you can even have access to GPUs. Because those of us that are into computer, we know we have CPUs and we have GPUs. GPUs are more powerful than CPUs. You can see there are different GPUs here. So you can even change it. I can change it to a higher GPU here. But for now, I'm going to maintain my CPU. So once we are doing we start building machine learning models and we are doing deep neural networks, we must change our processor from CPU to GPU. If not, it will be slow, it will be hanging. So Google Colab will give you all those added advantage without affecting your system. Because if you are running all these codes on your normal system, it may crash your system. It may crash because once you are building heavy machine learning models, your system will become slow. And before you know it, the system will start developing issues, which is not what you want. So always use your Google Colab. So back to our Python basics. The first thing I'll be introducing you on is what we call variables and data type. Now, why do you need these basics? You need these basics because when we start doing the machine learning, you'll be seeing some of these things, we'll be using them there. So that's why I want you to understand them first before we go there. So the first thing we'll be looking at is variables and data type. Now, what are variables? As I said, variables are used to store values that can be used later in your code. Now, in a layman language, variable is like a container that holds something. Variable is like a container that holds something. A practical example, a drum holding a water. That drum is a variable, but the actual content is water, not the drum itself. So the drum is only like a house holding the water. So variables are like containers holding something of value inside. So if I say, give me a cup of water, the most important thing within that cup is the water inside of it because the water is what will quench my thirst. However, the cup is the variable because it's holding something that is of value to me. So variables are container that hold something. So in programming, how do we represent variable? Now, these three things here, this age is a variable, this name is a variable, this height is a variable. Now, why do I call them variables? Because they are like the container and they are storing values. For instance, this age is storing a value 25. I can change this age to 26, for instance, and I still give it this variable name, age. So now, anytime I want to access 26, I don't need to say 26. The moment I just write age, let me show you. Now, how do you run a code in your VS Code? This play button, you click it. The moment you click it, it will run. That's how you run a code. And then if you want to add another cell, like I did here, let me delete. Like if I want to add another cell, if you just bring your cursor close here, you see code. So click on this code. That's for those using system. For those of you using mobile device, you will see this plus name is holding the value Alice. Alice is somebody's name. But if I want to access Alice, I don't need to go and be writing Alice. The moment I just write name, Alice will appear. The moment I write age, 26 will appear. The moment I write height, 5.7 will appear. Why? Because they are the containers holding those values. So that is what we call variable. In every programming language, variable is one of the most important. Just like in biology, they said cell. Cell is the most important component of everything. Atom. Atom is the smallest indivisible is it element abi particle that they do say I've forgotten. But we know atom is very important because its collection is what gives birth to particles, cells and the rest once there are many. So atom is like the smallest and most important. The same thing applies to variable. It looks small, but it is very important and powerful. So the moment I run this cell, now why is it important and powerful? Let's assume I want to use 26 in 700 places. I don't need to go and be writing 26, 26, 26, 26. The moment I write age, it knows I'm making reference to 26. You can see 26 appear. If I should change it to name, you see Alice appears. It knows the value I'm talking about. So variable, just like I said, is a container that holds a value. So if I should say create a variable, for instance, I say create a variable that stores your name. My name is JC. If I want to create a variable that stores my name, I can call the name of the variable name equal to, then I say JC. I've changed it. Now, since I use the same name, I use name here, Alice, and then I use name here, I call it JC. So this name will carry the last one. That's one thing with variables. The last one you write, maybe if you have two things having the same thing, two things having the same thing, whether you put space there or no space, is the same thing. If you have two things having the same thing, it always carries the last one. So the moment I type name here, it's JC that will appear, not Alice again. You can see. So that is what variable is. So variables are containers that stores a value. So let me rerun this one back so that Alice should be the one that will appear. Okay, so you have we have three variables. One is storing an age, one is storing a name, one is storing height. Now to explain what variables are, I said variables are like containers that store values or hold something. And I showed you an illustration. I said in this context here, we have three variables. One, I call it age, one, I call it name, and then one, I call it height. The age is holding a number 26. The name is holding a number, a name called Alice, and then the height is holding a decimal number 5.7. Now, I said once you have a variable will give you flexibility to use a particular thing multiple times. For instance, if I want to use this age 26 times, I don't need to go and be writing sorry, 26. If, for instance, I want to use this 26 times, I don't need to go and be writing 26, 26, 26, 26. 26 times. The moment rather I can just use age 26 times and it will bring out 26 for me in 26 places. Now, you might be thinking, okay, 26 is more easier to write 26 than age. Now, there are some situations that the variable, the content that the variable is holding might be too much. For instance, let me show you a practical example. Let me say sentence. Or let me just call it sen. Let me say, for instance, let's see. Okay, let's assume this is my sentence and I want you to write this same sentence 5 times. If you are to write my name is JC and I'm a Python programmer, my name is JC and I'm a Python programmer, my name is JC and I'm a Python programmer up to 5 places, it will be more stressful for you. But the moment you write send and run, it will bring the whole of that statement for you. You can write this send in 5 different places. Send and then you run, send and then you run. Now you can see that this one is more easier and faster. So that is what variable does. So forget about the fact that the value that this particular variable is storing or all these three variables are storing is very small. Irrespective of okay, irrespective of the values them holding is small, variables are powerful because they can allow you to store even a much bigger value. So that is the advantage of using variables. So in this place, I said I have three variables: age, name, and height. Now, another good thing with variables is that if me, I use age as my own variable, you can decide to use another thing. it mustn't be the same with what me I use. So variable gives you flexibility to specify what you want. You are the one that will decide what you want to name your variable as. It mustn't be the same with what me I put. Okay, for instance, me I said age should represent 26. You can decide to call your variable maybe a number. You can write instead of age, let's assume here you can change it. You can say a number like this. It's the same thing. Another person can say a num. It's his choice. So everybody can decide the name of the variable he wants. It mustn't be exactly the same with what me I specify. So that is the advantage of using variables. So in this my example, I have three variables here: age, name, and height. And then I also have another one here which I call sen. My name is JC. I am a Python programmer. It's also another variable. So anytime I want to work with this, if I want to work with 26, I don't need to go and be writing 26. The moment I just write, age, I will see 26 will appear. If I want to use the name Alice, the moment I write name, Alice will appear. If I want to use 5.7, the moment I write height, 5.7 will appear. If I want to use my name is JC, I am a Python programmer, the moment I write send, this whole sentence will appear. So that is the advantage of using variable. So I don't know whether there's any confusion on what variable is all about. If you have any confusion and then maybe a question on what I've said so far, you can indicate by talking or by raising up your hand. But if there's no question on that, I will proceed with the next section. Is there any question? Okay, Mr. John. Yes, you can use different variables for them. For instance, okay, example. Okay, let's say I want to store my name JC and your name John. Those are two names, but that is the kind of situation you're asking. So I can decide. I told you variable name. The important thing is don't give two variables the same name unless they are the same or you are overwriting. There's what we call overwriting. Overwriting is when you want another thing to replace another thing. So you are changing it. That's what we call overwriting. Unless you are overwriting. If you are not overwriting, your two variables should have different names. For example, I can say name one John. Then I can go back and say name two JC. So can you see? I've given them different names. So if I want to access John now, I will say name one. John will appear. If I say name two, JC will appear. So you can see their difference. So if you're having similar but different data or value that you want to store, always use different variable names for them. It's clever. Now I can show you another shortcut. Maybe I want to write JC and John. I want to write them on the same line. This is what I can do. I can say name one because in machine learning we will use this very well. I can now say equal to JC, comma